Welcome. Today we're talking about how my life changed when I got diagnosed with FSHD when I was 14. Life as a teenager can be pretty rough as it is, so navigating that with a progressive disability is not something I'd wish on anyone, but I do feel like it has made me who I am today. I'll go over my diagnosis, how it impacted me directly after that, and then a few years later, as well as giving some tips to 14-year-old me that I think could help some people out there going through the same thing. Just quickly, I want to say that there is now a Dudeability Instagram where I'll just post some updates and generally what's going on. So if you want to go follow that, I'd really appreciate it. So I was diagnosed in 2014 after my mum saw me without a shirt on and my right shoulder looked a bit off. To this day, my right shoulder is more affected than my left, which is kind of annoying being right-handed, but anywho. I went to the GP who referred me to a musculoskeletal specialist, and in the interim, I got some x-rays done of my shoulder to see what was going on in there. And I don't have the x-rays, but I'll try to draw kind of what it looked like so you can see how messed up my shoulder looked. From there, I arrived at the specialist and was talking to my mum the other day because I wanted to get the details right of this time, and apparently a lot of my memory is completely incorrect, so thanks, Mum. When we got to the specialist, he pretty much knew what it was straight away, apparently, and I was just with my mum at this appointment, and she went in thinking, my son has a dislocated shoulder or some sort of postural issue that might need surgery, but she left the appointment with a 14-year-old son with a progressive disability, and I can't imagine how tough that would have been for her and my dad once he found out. So this is how it impacted me directly after the diagnosis. It didn't at all. Like, I went back to school as if nothing had changed and just continued being a kid. At this stage, I think if anyone would have shown me the potential impacts of the condition, I think it would have freaked me out a little bit. I could still do everything I wanted to do. I could run, jump, play tennis, hang out with my friends. Like, my shoulder was a bit annoying and it caused me a bit of discomfort, but it didn't really stop me from doing anything I wanted to do. So there's two parts to this. Firstly, when my weird shoulder started to be more noticeable to other kids at school, mainly when we were getting changed for sport, I started becoming a bit more self-conscious about it. Because of the wasted muscle in my shoulder, it would sort of roll forward and my shoulder blade would stick out. People would point it out and make fun of me a little bit, which did cause me to retreat into my shell a little bit and hide myself in the change room a bit more. I don't blame the other kids for this because we were all really young and no one really has a filter at that age. With clothes on, it wasn't really an issue yet. But the first time my mobility was properly affected was a year later in 2015. So I was 15. And I remember this really clearly, that I was running in PE or playing indoor soccer, and I'd sort of sprint about 10 meters, and over that 10 meters, I'd slowly get close to the ground. Like, my legs were just slowly lowering me, and then I fell over. Thought it was kind of weird, but didn't really think much of it. And then played again, this time outside, and the same thing happened. And I remember thinking it was mildly concerning, but I don't think I really looked into it. I graduated high school in 2018 and then went on to uni. I dropped out after a year and then took the following year off for a gap year, but then lockdown happened, so I went from playing sport the majority of my life to not at all. During my time at uni, I didn't really participate in competitive sport because my legs had gotten to a stage where I couldn't keep up with regular legged people. Um, This made me pretty sad, and I started to retreat further into my shell and lose a bit of self confidence that I had as a kid. Apart from working at the local supermarket, which progressively got more difficult, I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't really exercise or go to the gym, and I'm going to take a fat guess and assume that wasn't great for my body. It's been 10 years now that I've lived with muscular dystrophy, and I've learnt a lot. Managing the condition has ultimately made me into who I am today, for better or worse. If anyone is watching has just been diagnosed, this is some advice I would give to 14-year-old me who'd just been diagnosed. Firstly, don't freak out. The condition is highly variable, and there's absolutely no guarantee that your life will get super difficult. Secondly, get in the gym. This is something I wish I'd done sooner, as it has improved my confidence, mental health, and my mobility over time. It doesn't even have to be lifting weights, although that is good. I'd say just get out there and keep moving. My specialist used the phrase, use it or lose it, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. Thirdly, and this is the most important one, I reckon, tell your friends, your close ones at least. I told next to no one about my condition until posting the first video on this channel, actually, 2 months ago. So that was 10 years of keeping that in. But carrying around a disability and feeling too ashamed to talk about it really takes a toll on you. Keeping track of all my excuses and lies to cover up my condition was exhausting and just not worth it. Talking openly about my condition was incredibly freeing and instantly removed a lot of the mental struggles that I was dealing with. People will say things, and that's okay. If you're honest about what you're going through, then people are surprisingly understanding. No one worth being around will treat you differently once they find out about your condition, and they'll even offer to help you. So that's how my diagnosis at 14 changed my life at the time. As cringy as it sounds, I feel like I've started a new chapter in my life where I'm open about my condition and feel free to go grab life by the nuts. I want to thank everyone who has supported me up until this point. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you want to chat privately, you can DM me on Instagram at the Dudeability one. I'm happy to answer any questions. I am trying to get this channel to 1,000 subs by Christmas, so please share it around with your friends and family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.